I have a fun video for you today. I'm going to show you the inside of our home during the Christmas season. I'm really excited to show you all the decorations that we have. A lot of handmade things that I've made over the years, a lot of very simple designs. I think you're going to enjoy this. My name is Cindy. I'm with Reinvented Delaware, and we love to repurpose and reinvent all sorts of home decor and furniture. And then we love to share those tutorials with you so that you can do these projects at home. Today, I'm going to show you the inside of our home at Christmas. Right now I'm standing in our living room and I'm looking out across our kitchen to the right and our dining area to the left. You can see that I have my tree in the middle of the floor. That's because we have a floor jack just below the area where the tree is. And standing at the tree, looking into the dining area, you can see how we have this room set up. This table has 2 leaves. Each of them are 24 inches wide, so this table gets even bigger than what you see. I love this space. It's one of my favorite areas in our whole home. I love the antique children's chairs that we have hanging on the wall. And I decided to bring all of my snowmen into one collection. I've displayed them on this antique stroller. I just love them all together like this. I've tried to make one snowman each year for the last few years, and most of them I've kept, some I've given away, and some I have not made until after Christmas. The week between Christmas and New Year's seems to have a little bit of a lull, and often I've made the snowmen during that week, and I really do enjoy doing that. This is my most recent snowman. I just made a video of how I make him, and I'll link it in the description below. This is a large cabinet that we have in our dining room that was actually for a hunting lodge, believe it or not. Each fella could put his supplies on the shelves inside. We've turned it into a cabinet storage area, and up above I've added some more of the snowmen that I love to make. This is Nandina from our yard. I love clipping this and bringing it into the home all throughout the year, and especially at Christmas. It brings some beautiful color during this time of the year, and I just really do enjoy it. And by the way, it dries beautifully. If you don't touch it a whole lot, it will just dry and the leaves will stay right there. You have to be careful because the leaves will fall off, but if you have it in an area where no one is going to touch it, you can just leave it alone. And if you want it on a table area, just add a mason jar inside the ironstone pitcher like I've done here and keep water in it, and that Nandina will stay fresh for a really long time. I have our table set with several pieces of ironstone, and then Nandina is in mason jars. And then I've used an antique linen tablecloth that was too small for my table, so I just bunched it up so that it would look like it was just snow right in the middle of the table. I have ironstone bowls filled with pine cones from our yard, and did you notice that I don't have candles in my chandelier? I need to add those, don't I? I like to keep a puzzle out too, because during the Christmas season it seems like we're sitting around having coffee together, dessert, having a glass of wine in the evening, and it's just a fun thing to do when you've got a nice group of people gathered together. The sideboard on this wall in the dining room is a great place to display just different items throughout the year. I've got it all lit up with vintage candles that I found at the local thrift store. You see they look like little candles. They have clips on them. They're so cute. I have cranberries strung on a string that I made last year as garland, a watercolor painting that my daughter made for me a few years ago. An ironstone bowl with painted pine cones intermixed with live greenery just from our yard, and all these brass candlesticks that I have collected from different shopping events at thrift stores and antique shops and auctions, all kinds of places. Look at these little candles. Aren't they the cutest? I've also put these on the tree on every few years. I don't do it every year, but this year I just made a little display right here on the sideboard. I have a bowl full of that same Nandina in a mason jar inside of that beautiful ironstone bowl with a little swag of greenery and pine cones that fill the bowl. On the lower shelf of the sideboard, I've put out a few ornaments. These are little angel ornaments that I made years ago. They're just so fun and whimsical. They were so much fun to make, and I have to admit, they get very tangled up in the box that I keep them in. And that's our dining room. When you turn to the left, you can see our living room area. This is where we spend the majority of our time. I just love this room. You can see there the tree in the middle of the area because we have that floor jack just below where the tree is situated. This year I put the manger scene, the nativity scene, on the floor because I have plans of our grandson being able to play with these pieces. My husband built the creche out of barn wood that he reclaimed himself several years ago, and then we started to collect these pieces here that you see from Hestia. They are resin. They're mostly just one piece. You see here that the shepherd has his staff. We would be careful with our grandson with pieces like that, of course. But I wanted our grandchildren to be able to use these pieces and not worry about them breaking and, that kind of thing. We just wanted them to use these pieces and be able to play with them. Now, unfortunately, our dog has been playing with these pieces quite a bit too. Let's take a closer look at the tree and the ornaments that I've made over the years. I've painted these stars. I have a blog post about that. I've painted pine cones. I've made stars out of wool felt, made angels out of the wool, boiled wool. I've added ribbons intermittently around. And you'll also notice I have one strand of red lights, but mostly white lights. I really like adding just a little bit of color, a little bit of twinkle to the tree like that. My husband made that crate down below that the tree sits in as well. And then I just recently gave it an update. I painted it. You can see that reel over on Instagram. We have some collectible ornaments that we've just collected over the years. And I also like to add birds to this tree. This is an owl that I found at Hobby Lobby, of course. And I found lots of little birds. You see that green one on the left. Some of the birds that I have found, they're made from real feathers, but the clips that they came with were terrible. So I took them off and I used little clothespins, and they just sit nicely on the trees. Here I am standing in the kitchen, and you can see I can see the dining room area and the living room area all in one. This area that we have is one big room, and we really do enjoy it. Here's our kitchen island. We sit here. I do a lot of projects here. We have our dinner here every night. I have morning coffee here often. You can see that I'm working on a project, a magnolia leaf with orange slices. It's going to be a wreath, and I'm planning on making that video soon. I like to work on projects throughout the season. I don't necessarily want to get them all finished at once. Part of the enjoyment for me of the season is to continue making crafts and projects while the season continues, and even after Christmas I continue to make projects. Here's our kitchen. This is where I do most of our cooking. Well, honestly, all of our cooking. Here's our little coffee area, and I was so blessed to see that our Christmas cactus bloomed about a week ago. I was so excited. This is the first time that it's ever bloomed. One of my daughters gave this to me. I like to keep the copper out. I feel like it adds a little bit of sparkle, and it just adds a nice little touch to the kitchen. I love this little spot. It's a nice area to display some Christmas items right here in the kitchen on this antique oak dresser that has been in my husband's family for years. You can see more Nandina. I have my Leland cypress branches stuck in there. There's a mason jar inside that ironstone pitcher, keeping everything nice and fresh. Of course, we have to have a candle burning. And then I have these lovely drop cloth Christmas trees that I made. I'll link the video below for those trees. It's a fun project. And I also made this acorn wreath back in the fall, and I decided to keep it out for Christmas because it has a little bit of shimmer to it. Back towards the living area and the tree. You can see we love to burn our fireplace. We light a fire almost every night. It just makes everything so nice and cozy. The garland that I made last year with the orange slices and faux cranberries really held up well. The color darkened, and I really do like that. So I just draped it over this antique cabinet that we have in the living room. This red and green quilt that I made several years ago helps to add some more Christmas color to the living room. Plus, it's a nice blanket to snuggle up with and watch a good movie. The tree on the hearth of the fireplace is from Walmart. It's a flocked tree. It was around $30, and I love this little tree. I've got white lights all over, gold glittery kind of ornaments, a handmade star, the willow tree angel ornaments that I've collected over the years. And I also added pine cones that I did not paint so that they would show up nicely against the white background of the flocked tree. I had some paper mache stackable boxes in my stash that I never did anything with, so I pulled them out and I used a variety of Dixie Belle chalk mineral paint to paint them in several colors. I have grays, I have several whites, light colors, and blues. They just look really good stacked up. See those stockings over on the left-hand side in that big crock? They'll be hanging soon underneath the fireplace mantel. Speaking of the fireplace mantel, you're going to see that I've got Nandina in ironstone pitchers, hand-turned wooden snowmen, oversized ornaments and a set of bells, and a lot of painted pine cones. Say that 10 times fast. I painted the pine cones pretty heavy because I wanted them to show up really nice. My husband hand turns these snowmen, and he makes us one every year. On each side of the window, I have one of our shutter lights. We've made these out of old shutters and wall sconce light fixtures that I purchased on Amazon. I have a video and a blog post tutorial to show you how to make your own. I painted a frame and then added some cotton to it just to make it look kind of like a wreath. I'll include a link to the video and to the blog post for the shutter lights down in the description. YouTube offers a lot of channels that play Christmas music for the whole day, and they'll have a pretty scene like the one you see on our TV now. I've really been enjoying all of the Christmas music that's just been filtering through the house all day long. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for stopping by and seeing the inside of our home at Christmas time. It sure was a joy to have you here today. If you like this video, could you give me a thumbs up and maybe even subscribe to our channel? I would love for you to learn all the tutorials that we share and that we offer here on our YouTube channel and also over on our blog at reinventeddelaware.com. From my husband and myself, we are wishing you a very Merry Christmas.